This is a working nuclear missile in Minecraft survival mode, I guess. Nah, not survival mode at all. Alright, so there's a couple problems with making a working ICBM in Minecraft, or essentially a missile. And we have this is the missile. This is just a missile. If we activate it, it's gonna fly up, and then it's gonna unload. So I have to fly all the way up here to actually load it back in. So I have hitboxes shown, so we should see a purple hitbox somewhere. Yep, there it is, and see it just falls. So that's the problem with the missiles. It's just gonna get unloaded if the player isn't loading it. So the player has to quite literally ride the missile to their own impending doom, which I don't want to happen. So I'm gonna I'm gonna try to fix that. Alright, so I went snooping in the config after I tested out some chunk loaders. So there's two chunk loaders that the Modpack has, and we have the chunk loader from VS Tournament and the chunk loader from Create Ender Transmission. This one just does not load in, so we're gonna ignore this one. Essentially, neither of them worked. So I went snooping in the config, and I found max ship load distance was set to 128. So I set to 3000. If this works, now this should not, theoretically, this should go all the way up and it should not freeze. We should still be able to see that. Yep. That's good. Alright, it works. It works. It works. It works. It works. That's the main. That's the main thing the missile needs. Now you don't have to ride your own missile to your own doom. Alright. So I guess now I'm gonna go build the missile and then tackle some other problems that it has. So let's get to it. Alright, yep, I got Create Propulsion. I re-added it because it adds working rocket engines, which is not what this missile would actually have, but it's what I'm gonna put on it because it's gonna look the coolest. And these thrusters were a little too weak. Granted, I know you can change these thrusters, their power in the config also, but I don't want to change it to be crazy because that would mess up a couple other builds I already have. So yeah, we just added some rocket engines. This is literally a rocket. So now I'm gonna work on the next part of the missile, which is the stage separation, because that is complicated and needs to be worked on. When I added Create Propulsion, the jet engine mod over there, it turns out it had an update, so there's these things called redstone magnets. So when I was going to make the said stage separation, I was like, ooh, I could just use these magnets because they'd probably be strong enough, and if I just get multiple of them, it would work. So they're also powered by redstone, so it's nice and simple. So yeah, it's a pretty strong connection. But the problem is how I was gonna make the missile would already be pretty heavy. It would already be really heavy actually. So, and my plan is to have 8 of these thrusters on the bottom and 1 of them on the top. So that thruster, since it's super powerful, it would just push the top off from the bottom, which is actually what it did. Because I'm all recording this all later after I did the missile testing. So that's what it did. So I switched to a much more simple mechanism of using a piston and a shaft. That's not the right. Alright. So essentially, this right here. So instead of using the magnets, because it just was too flawed and separated mid-flight too often, well, when it wasn't supposed to, I am using a piston and a shaft mechanism. So it's very much not locked in at all right now, but if I put redstone right here, it is locked in, and the only way it will come out is if you break the redstone block and that part will fall, which is the exact system I actually used and am using on the on the giant, on the missile, So now I think it's time to build the missile and then nuke some stuff. So let's get into the build. Thank you for watching. That'll be the end of this video. Make sure you like, subscribe, and I'll see you in another one. Also, I'm really close to 100 subscribers. I'm at like 51 subscribers by the time I'm editing this video. It would mean a lot if I get to 100 subscribers before the end of the year, because that would be pretty awesome. Get 100 in a couple months. That'd be awesome. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. And this build will be on my Patreon, link in description. Also in the description is my second channel. I've not really advertised that I have a second channel that much, but I do have a second channel, and it's mainly for it's for the Patreon build setup tutorials. So subscribe to that one also, and I'll see you in another one. Goodbye. Also, Merry Christmas. There won't be a video next week because it's gonna be Christmas. Bye.